Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the gang is all here in various places and sunshiny faces. Hello, Myra J. How are you?
I am doing absolutely splendid.
All right then. Okay, I like that.
Mm,
Splendid.
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
I'm I'm I guess I'm NutraSweet. Hello, young
I'm
Quinn. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You seem a little. Well, I was gonna say you seem a little mellow. You anticipating a hard day at school tomorrow?
No, if you're feeling any mellow, I found out that one of my church moms had passed at the
Oh, I'm
top
so
of the month.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
So
And I'm off
sorry.
of social media and I had the urge today to find out. And it just happened yesterday was the service. So I saw the bulletin for the
Oh,
service
wow.
and I
Yeah.
was
Oh,
just like, wow. So
I'm
it's
sorry for your loss. I'm
yeah.
sorry for your loss. Speaking of moms, happy belated birthday to your mom, Stephen Hill. A big
Thank you very
birthday
much.
this
Yeah.
week.
Yes, she had turned 96 yesterday. My dad would have turned
Wow.
97, allegedly. They had sequential birthdays. I won't go into the long version of the story. Just they had to quit that. My dad was on September 18th, mom September 19th. Dad's no longer with us. Mom, we had a great dinner at the Silver Diner, her choice, uh, last night in Springfield, Virginia. So,
Nice,
yay,
nice, nice.
mom! Yay,
Yes.
mom!
Yes.
Stephen Hill is a brilliant writer and gave this great story in his Instagram about when his dad's birthday was, or what they believed to be his birthday, and when his birthday really was, and how he got to this date. So, if you get a chance, check out his Instagram and see that. And maybe if we have a little time, I doubt it, we'll ask you to revisit that because it really is pretty amusing. So happy heavenly birthday to your dad and happy earthly birthday to your mom. And let's talk a little bit about where you all are in the world. How's the
How are
weather?
you, Sybil? How are
You know
you?
what? I am okay. I just got a little something in my throat, but I'm not sure if it's sympathetic or not. Just got word that my friend Sherry Shepard has COVID. She just started her show, and now
Yep.
she's got COVID, and
First
so
weekend. Yep.
yeah, and she's been talking about a scratchy throat, and John's like just like, sit down and shut up. And as it turns out, that was. It appears that the bad throat is COVID related. So wishing her a speedy recovery. Just started the show back this week, and already she got to sit herself down. So I'm wishing her a speedy recovery there.
I am too. I am too. Although a lot of people at the Writers Guild are going.
You know what? She's gotten a lot of that, Steve, and
Ooh,
they never had Writers
ooh.
Guild. She's not a Writers Guild
Right,
member. They
right.
never had Writers Guild
Yes.
writers on the show. She was the writer. She is
Yes.
the
She
Yes,
writer.
writes her own material.
it's all perception, not reality. She
Yeah,
was
yeah,
absolutely well within her rights to start her
Yes.
show, unlike
Yes.
the other shows. So I want to be very
Yes.
yeah,
clear. That was
yeah.
this is much more of a joke than
As you sip the tea, yeah.
yes.
So
Sherry Shepard did it the right way, given the way her staff is structured. Unlike we'll just say the others.
yeah, the others,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
Yes.
right. And there are shows that came back a while ago that that did have WGA writers, and uh, no one gave them a hard time. But anyway, Myra, I'm hoping that we can maybe get an update about this maybe next week or so. I know the Writers Guild was meeting with producers today,
Today. Yeah.
and I'm not sure about the SGA, Screen or SAG, SAG, or
Uh,
the AFTRA
no.
negotiations.
No. We don't have a update on that, but we are voting for SAG officers again soon. So
That's right. I've been seeing people who have been kind of running but not running, and
mhm.
different folks saying, my friend is running for," and kind of like that. But
Yeah.
interesting time when you got people who are supposed to be leading you, and other people want that job. So it's
Hmm.
interesting times. This is a time of great upheaval. When you think about the strikes, you think of, and we've been covering the United Auto Workers strike, and all of that, and what they want, and a lot of people, oh, that's a lot of money. But when you consider the amount of money that the leaders of those companies get, not only in salaries but in bonuses, they could really pay for all those people to get their
40%.
raises.
And
Yeah.
didn't they get a bailout a few years ago?
And they got a bailout, Myra. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And the workers went along with the bailout, to help them
Hmm.
keep their companies running.
Pay them
So
people. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The only thing I'm
The chasm between C-level
yeah,
suite executives and those who are working continues to increase.
yeah, say it
And the
again.
policies of this country continue to support that increase, no matter what they might say during election cycles. All the taxes, everything is there to make the rich get richer. It's just true. I'm not a judge it. It's just true.
And our little communist is kind of just nodding her head in agreement with you.
I'm working on my Cuban passport. It's fine.
Okay, good luck with that and getting one. Period.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our newsletter that we produce Monday through Fridays, and we have a number of stories in there, all designed to super serve the African American community. They're written by Black folks. They are written for Black folks, and young Kwynn Townsend Riley is our LGBTQ contributor. We also have social justice covered by a young contributor. Social justice is Coy Malone, and mental health and wellness is Aprilette Russell, and another political writer is Quinn's big brother, Cameron Riley. So please check it out, and let's talk, young Kwynn, about your story. And this is it's a trend. The California schools' decision to introduce a controversial parental notification policy.
Yeah, so this is the second elementary school district in California that introduced another parental notification policy for students who wish to socially transition in spite of the Attorney General's opposition. So I believe last week or a couple weeks ago, I talked about the Chino Valley School District
Mm-hmm.
that a judge issued some type of block from them implementing a similar policy. So Dry Creek is following in the footsteps of other school districts, the Chino School District, the Anderson Union High School District, Murrieta Valley, Temecula, and Rockland Unified. The policy is that parents and guardians are notified right away if their child requests to go by a new name, a new set of pronouns, or to use facilities or join teams that don't align with the sex on their official school records. Research shows that protecting a transgender student's ability to make choices about how and when to inform others is critical to their well being, as transgender students are exposed to high levels of harassment and mistreatment at their school and in their communities when those environments are not supportive of their gender identity. And even further statistics from the Trevor Project show that 1 in 10 respondents said that an immediate family member had been violent toward them because they were transgender, and 15% of them ran away from home or were kicked out of their home because they were transgender. And currently, there are
Wow.
77% of students known or perceived as transgender that reported negative experiences at their school, and over half of them have chosen to either not return to that same school or their academic well-being was also affected. And I went to the ACLU because, as you mentioned, Sybil, this is like a trend. And so we know that back in 2022, over 500 anti-LGBTQ bills have been passed. And so I went to the ACLU because they have an anti-trans legislative tracker. Over 230 of the 502 bills are all targeted towards schools and education. And of the 230, like at least the ones that haven't passed, it's roughly 100 of those bills that haven't passed from states from Wisconsin to Tennessee, South Dakota, South Carolina, Oklahoma, New Jersey, Missouri, Minnesota, Michigan, Kansas, Iowa, Hawaii, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Alaska, Alabama. And all these bills, these 92 bills, are all in the realm of schools and education, targeting or is a way that they are advertising it, uplifting parental rights about their
Right. Yeah.
transgender.
The positioning is interesting.
Mm.
The propaganda is very
Uplifting
interesting.
parental rights.
Yeah,
Wow. Well
Hmm.
done.
yeah. So
Well,
that's how they're being marketed and written into policy. Because then parents are like, "Yeah, I want my rights of my child. Like this is my child. This is my child." but they don't actually understand what they're doing is harming their child. At least with this outing of the transgender this policy. And of course, majority of them are also like for health and education. A lot of folks don't want children to undergo any type of gender affirming surgery, but we see even stuff. Uh, I'm looking at this bill right now that's in Florida that goes over pre-K through 12 that requires specific policy related to person sex at a pre-K, like in preschool. It's just like I don't know what's happening right now.
I saw in articles recently as today, Quinn, Time Magazine said that California is the latest state where a school board is requiring staff to potentially out trans kids.
Yeah, I'm
That's
hoping this isn't infectious, but the fact that it's over 93 and over like
yeah.
majority of all United States of America right now is actually really, really, really sad. And it
So
has me
so
thinking about transgender youth experience.
so okay. Is it right to call kids who are experimenting or discovering,
Questioning.
questioning? Is it right to call to label that as trans? Right? Because it feels like it's a little young to do that.
Right.
Let me come on. Let me come on. Whatever is going to make it easier and safer for youth to explore, question what they want to be, feels like the right direction. Giving a label really early feels like it's against that principle, right? And so when we talk about outing trans, it feels like, well, when you're 6 or 7, you're discovering and questioning, and by giving them the term trans, it feels like it works against that discovery system, right? Yes,
Yeah.
no.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's I think that's an interesting take because we don't know if these students are preferring to go by trans. I'm hoping that within this policy they are actually using the term trans because the student is identifying as transgender. But I think they may be using the term transgender as something transient and something that can like be fluid and which gender is supposed to be. But they're just saying if students, they're saying in general, if a student asks to even experiment with using a different name, if they want to join a different sports team, if they want to use a different bathroom, even if they want to use a different pronoun, they have to tell the parents immediately. And so it's just like there's no room for that student to even try to figure themselves out outside of their home because now you're telling their parent almost as if it's like a bad decision and not necessarily
Mm.
like, oh, let's have a group conversation. Oh, here are some brochures about pronouns. Is more so like, yeah, you did this thing. I have to tell mom.
And
So
using the girls' bathroom may not be anything about their sexuality. It just could be that the boys are such slobs. They
it
don't
really
want to
is.
go into the
Well,
boys'
the funny thing is, I was going to break that down because it feels wanting the using of another bathroom affects other people. So I feel that's different than what you might want to call yourself. Things that are singular to a person feels like it maybe should be treated differently than things that do affect others, right? Because whether we like it or not, going into a bathroom where there's multiple people who have different opinions on it being there with other people with other genders at this point feels different than if like I want to call myself whatever I want to call myself. So it feels like a lot of things are being lumped together that that shouldn't be. Just my opinion.
No, I agree. And like I said, the propaganda of it being parental rights, I think, is really manipulative. And I think it's really just unfortunate that it's almost like you're pitting the parent against the student or the parent against the school when really
hmm
everybody should really be focusing like on what the
The
student wants.
student, yeah.
And so it's just like where do we go from as a educational institution to wanting uplifting one more than the other? So I don't know.
What's
Uh,
best for my kid?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll continue to track and listen.
I think
But
a challenge with that perspective is like what's best for my kid. Who's going to determine that? Like, because some parents you don't want determining what's best for their
Well,
kid.
that's true too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that might be where you bring a judge in, and a judge who feels, the other way. I don't know.
yeah.
And it might be, they say a child shall lead us, and it may be the child. that should be the one to make the decision for however you feel about it. This
Mhm.
is not it's not going away anytime soon, and it is going to rear its ugly head for a very long time to come. Some of the other things that we cover in the What You Need to Know newsletter on a weekly basis, especially, is the Black and Missing section. This is from the Black and Missing Foundation, and they give us the opportunity to share with our readers about those who are missing in our community. It started as a way to let people know that yes, it's not just blonde, blue-eyed girls that are missing. That are people that look like you and me who are missing, and the word is not getting out. This is a twofer here, and I don't mean that take that lightly. It's two sisters who are missing from Washington D.C. Story Johnson has been missing since September 14th. The 12-year-old and her 14-year-old sister LaShawn last seen in Northwest DC. And we ask you to go and look at their pictures in our newsletter. And if they look familiar to you, if you think you might have some information, please go to the Black and Missing Foundation website, and let's try to find these young girls, 14 and 12, and been missing for the last week or so out of Northwest DC. So take a look at that. Some of the other things that we are also talking about is PAD, peripheral artery disease. This is a disease that affects people in terms of their blood vessels more often outside of the heart, going to other parts of the body. And one of the most prominent areas is your buttocks, your hips, your legs, and your feet. Those vessels are diseased and can lead to amputation, sadly enough, if nothing is not done, if nothing is done about this. And so um, take a look at our stories about this. We'll continue to talk about it. And we have a special on PAD, peripheral artery disease, along with the American Heart Association tomorrow, September 21st. So please join us for that. Um, if you'd like to subscribe to the What You Need to Know newsletter, go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday. It's absolutely free. When you do receive it, we do ask that you open it and don't just let it sit in your email box. That is one way for us to count the numbers and to go out and share with sponsors and other partners about how we can pay for this newsletter. And
Mm.
so we ask you to do that. And if you don't get it, if you find that it's going to, for whatever mysterious reason you're not receiving your newsletter, get in touch with us at SybilWilkes.com. And we have people. We have executive producers and we have technical people who can help you put that in your email box and make sure that you're receiving it every Monday through Friday, first thing. So let's move to the question of the day. And oh, I'm sorry, one more thing before we talk about that. The other strike that I was talking about, Myra, is the UAW strike. And I've been writing about this probably for the last couple of weeks, certainly since they went on strike almost a week ago, and as they were leading up to it, and what they're asking for, and a 40% increase. They're like, oh my God, how are we going to pay these people? Not only are they asking for a cost of living, but a 40% increase in a tiered sense over the next 4 years, maybe. But they are also asking for a 32-hour work week. That's where people are going, whoa, okay, I get the money. I get how you want people who come in earlier and want to be paid commensurately for their experience, but also new people to be paid that way. So there are a lot of different things in the demands. But Sean Fain, who is the president of the UAW, is hanging tough.
Yeah, yeah. And I do think that they have really gotten shafted, particularly these last few years, as we said earlier. You know, the big wigs, the executives got 40%, and they got a bailout earlier. And
Hmm.
this so-called trickle down economics, that bull crap is not working, period. So we need to pay the workers. And it's not just wages, it's also pension,
Hmm.
health care.
Right.
This is stuff for later on down the line. And to me, honestly, I think if we were to snatch back that 40% increase of the executives, we may find some extra money to pay
And
the
they may actually have to work for real money, instead of waiting for a government bailout or to not pay their workers commensurately. Then they might actually have to, roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Yep.
Imagine that. Imagine that. As I mentioned, it is time for the what's really going on question of the day. And this came from a discussion I had with Stephen Hill earlier about the Rolling Stone founder, John Wenner, under fire for comments on Black and female musicians. The founder of Rolling Stone magazine is facing criticism for saying that Black and female musicians are not articulate enough to be included in his new book, interestingly titled The Masters. It features 7 interviews with white male rock and roll icons: Bob Dylan, Jerry Garcia, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, Pete Townsend, and U2's Bono. The uproar over Wenner's comments prompted an apology from the head of Rolling Stone, and said that he was kicked off of the board of directors of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation. Aw. And it wasn't so much the book; it was an interview that he did with the New York Times. And so the writer said, "What's with the 7 white guys? Where are the other masters in rock and roll?" And that's when he said that he had not found Black musicians and female musicians, especially, not articulate enough for. And so we go back to the fact that old white guys are more comfortable with old white guys, and they are not open to the young or people who don't look like them. In whether it's their age, whether it's their color, whether it is their sex or gender, they just don't. There's a comfort level, and you would think somebody in his position, Stephen Hill, would feel more comfortable, or be open to new ideas and new thoughts in the way that people are expressing them, but that's not the case.
Why would we think
So,
that? Why would we think
Because
that?
they think that they are the experts.
But why would we think that he would be more comfortable? Why is that? Why do we think a man in this position would think be more comfortable? Why?
well, I would think that because music is always evolving, and understanding the new trends and the new types of music that are coming in, perhaps they would be more open to differences. So,
Jan Wenner has consistently. Here's the thing. Those 7 people are undeniably masters. That's the
right,
thing, right? And so
right.
in the interview, if you read the interview fully, he defends as like, oh, these are really masters. And I was like, oh, cool, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right.
And
But
then he went further, like,
right.
and then no Black people really do it. I'm like,
And who's a genius?
You-
Stevie Wonder, maybe.
you are just dumb. Like you have every right, because it's America, to do a book about 7 white men being masters, and no one's going to argue that they are masters. They are going to argue that no, your statement that no Black person is, and Jan, come here. Because I know you're watching. I know you're watching this now. You're watching everything you can Black now.
Everything Black now.
Oh yeah, you're watching everything Black now. You're watching the freaking obelisk from 2001, Space Odyssey. Listen, here's the. I forgot what I was going to say that.
That's funny. Okay, so let me throw out the question, because as I was thinking about this, I have been talking to people, and especially I mentioned it to one person initially, about writing a book about the best among Black and female musicians. And so the question is, who would you like to see in a more comprehensive book about the best in music business? Whether it's Stevie Wonder, whether it's Missy Elliott, you can go exactly. If you could go back or take a compilation of interviews that one has done with Prince personally, one person here who has done that, perhaps then that would be another person to include in there. Janet Jackson, who stood up at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremonies and said, "Please, more women."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, so 2 things. One, what I was going to say before was Jan Wenner. He had, not only did he mess it up, he used the one word you can't use to describe.
Okay.
Articulate was the word. Is just a trigger word. It's just a trigger word, because what do you expect? And then 2, Janet Jackson may have gotten at the Rock Roll Hall of Fame, but when they inducted Jam and Lewis, there
Yeah.
was an okay, I'm not supposed to say this, but there was an offer. You know how they people perform? Like there was going to be a Janet Jackson-led tribute to Jam and Lewis, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was like, no, not feeling it.
What?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
No, we don't want to do that. But Janet's going to perform on the Rock. Nah.
Right.
All right, I'm sorry, I don't want to take it out of the way, but you
No,
mentioned
no,
Janet,
no.
you mentioned Janet in the hall, and I was
That
like,
shows another group of people, and he resigned from that organization, by the way. After all of this hullabaloo came out over the weekend. So the question is for everyone: who would you like to see in this comprehensive book? Black, female, brown, you name it, queer, whatever it is, persons that you would like to see in this book. And let's take copious notes for the person that I would love to see write this book. Annie W on YouTube says Betty Davis in my book. Oh my God, that's a really good one. She is a woman that a lot of people don't know but should know,
Mhm.
and I can't wait for that story to come out. Absolutely, absolutely. Young Quinn, what about you?
I just knew you were gonna ask me first, and I was like,
Okay, no, no, no. Go ahead, think about it some more. Myra mentioned Prince.
Mhm.
Is Prince the only person, Myra, or do you have others?
For rock and roll,
No, for the icons book that I'm hoping one of us will write.
Lenny Kravitz.
That's another good one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like Lenny Kravitz.
And I like the idea of someone who knows, who has worked with these people, to be able to sit down and have a conversation or to go over their notes of conversations they've had with them, because I think that young women would have just been completely uh, unequipped to have conversations with people like Lenny Kravitz. Oh, I knew your mom and your dad. But beyond that, what do you say? But I think those are two good ones and two sexy MFs. Okay, young Quinn, your turn.
I feel like this is stereotypical, but it just shows that even though I'm feeling it's stereotypical, that's just because I think this artist just defines greatness, and it's just such a common answer. And because I'm gonna go see her soon, and it's the only artist that I feel like my mom, myself, and my little sister can all get excited for. Beyonce has to be in it. Like
Hmm.
Beyonce has to be in it. She absolutely has to be in it. I hope somebody is like just following this whole Renaissance tour, but
Oh,
also
for
just
sure.
her whole like journey in general, like Beyonce just has to be in it.
Yeah.
She's an icon. So
I
yeah.
really hope that they are following her, Stephen Hill, the way they did the Eras tour, that's going to be coming to the movie theater soon, with Taylor Swift's
Oh,
tour.
Taylor Swift.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I would love to see the behind the scenes of the Beyonce tour more than and I like Taylor Swift, but I would love to see the behind the scenes of the Renaissance, like Quinn.
Yeah. From Blue
All right.
Ivy's perspective. Ah, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, now it's time to go to bed, Blue. Okay. Okay. You've had your time on stage. It's time to go to bed.
Go do your homework now.
Mom, sir and Rumi are bothering me. Yeah. Stephen Hill, what about you? Who's going to be in your book? I mean, who's going to be in the book?
First of all, I'm proud. I will be forever proud that I get to say that was at the very first show that Blue Ivy did on stage. Right, I was very
Oh, wow.
the Paris show was the very first show she came on.
That's awesome.
Look, mine is going to be maybe a little surprising, but maybe not. What stunned me most about Jan Wenner saying that there's no black artist that articulate is that literally hip hop forces you to be more articulate, kind of than any other form of music.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Yeah.
storytell in a way that other music doesn't require you to. Once the message hit in 1982, and people realized, oh, it's not just party music; it can be music that means something and stuff from there. And so, to me, the artist that best embodies that over the longest period of time is the one that started in the streets, independent, started his own label at the very beginning, has owned his own, built the music, and then not just music, articulate that, but then after going through entanglements in their relationship, made a brilliant album about his response to that, and included in it mental health and Black empowerment and everything else. And it's Jay-Z. To say that Jay-Z's not a master or not articulate,
right,
is just freaking crazy to me.
right.
It's just like it. So, all right, I'll stop. That's it.
People that, women that I would love to hear their story, because they've never been quote unquote mainstream. Rochelle Farrell, Michelle Ndegeocello.
Which is just fun to say when I hear
Yeah.
Myra say pronounce her name. I just love that.
Yeah. I just there are so many great artists out there, but there are so many who didn't hit that quote unquote, let's say, Beyonce, Patti LaBelle, mega star level, but they are just great artists. And when you go to see them live, you just really appreciate their talent and their art form. People to me like Olita Adams.
Yeah.
You just sit there like, oh my God, why isn't this woman a household name? Because they are just so good.
Our friend Michael Stallworth on Facebook said Tracy Chapman is another one, and I'd like to hear her talk about how her songs, had some success, and now another writer,
Made a
another
comeback or
singer,
something.
and it's off the charts. But how does that feel? But that's a part of the business too. I heard that Dolly Parton is another person whose story I would like to hear her talk about her head for business, and especially because she revealed that Elvis wanted wanted to be able to sing, her permission to sing "I'll Always Love You," and she said no. And they said why, and because Colonel Parker demanded that they get 50% of the proceeds from the song. And so she said, absolutely not. And so they said, do you know how big this could be? And she said, I don't care. This is my song, and he's not getting half of it. I don't care how well he sings it. And it was just meant, I guess, for her to wait it out and to have another icon like Whitney Houston do that song.
Of course,
Maybe.
the irony, of course, is that so many of those deals actually do happen and go through.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of writing credits on songs by people who had never put pen to paper. they just had a good lawyer or good manager of their own personal.
And a great position in the business that people say, well, how could I not?
That's
And
right.
Janet Ferguson says Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, him and Ramsey Lewis in how they their partnership, as well as separately, how they maneuver through the jungle of this music, and especially as Black men.
You still have
C.M. Williams.
you still the name
I'm
of the
sorry.
seven? Who are the seven people again that we talked about?
Oh, I can give them to you. Bono, Bob Dylan, Jerry Garcia, Mick Jagger, John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen, and Pete Townsend.
So the funny, never mind. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into that list because they get they're all undeniable. But why Lennon over McCartney? Is a question.
There's the other thing.
Question.
Yeah.
Like, that's for another
Yeah,
conversation.
and you don't want to quibble over who his choices are. I mean, he made his choices, but
Right.
why not McCartney, especially for the length of his career? I'm sorry, Yolanda. I think C.M. Williams had one, and I didn't see it. A Black artist should get their own. Well, we do have Black music halls of fame.
There's one. There's an absolutely awesome one in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
Yep. Now I can't think of the National Association of Black Music. Before this is over, I'm gonna figure out exactly what the acronym is, and then get back to you. But it's an amazing, comprehensive Black Music Hall of Fame that has rotating exhibits in and out. Recently had one on New Edition, and so it's a fantastic place. And I got to figure out what it's called.
But you're right. Yeah, that we do. So let's put that out there and let people know where those are. Omaha has a Black Music Hall of Fame. And I'm not sure of Cincinnati, but I do agree with you, Stephen Hill, about Nashville.
Yes.
Um, and I find it interesting that in the heart of Motown they tried to make the big Motown Museum and all of that, but why didn't it work?
Mm.
Um, but that's neither here nor there. Some of the other people, I would like to see Natalie and Nat King Cole. That's a good one.
Good one.
I just
Yep.
saw the name. I didn't see who told us that. If you could put that back up, Yolanda, and give them credit for that. Sonia Maples on YouTube. Natalie and Nat King Cole. Absolutely. I agree with that. And that is another thing. The generational members of, just like with and I don't know, you would know more about this, Stephen Hill, than I would, but Tito Jackson, uh, kind not being the kind of tyrannical ruler that his father was, from what I can tell, but fostering another generation of young singers. And I'm not sure how far they will go in this business. But definitely, I like the idea of one generation following another,
Yes.
and where they go with that. Yeah,
Remember,
absolutely.
Tito's three sons were pretty big in Europe. Like they were
Yeah, yeah,
3T was a thing in
The
Europe in the
three
late
T's.
90s.
What they
3T.
call that? The three T.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
Oh, 3T.
Hmm.
Uh
Yeah.
huh.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I see one here is this Pink Elephant 26 Armstrong, Nancy Wilson and Nina Simone.
I was thinking Nancy Simone, Nina Simone as well.
Nina
Yeah, yeah,
Simone, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
National Museum of African American Music.
So, say it
National
again,
Museum.
please, Stephen.
National Museum of African American Music
Okay,
in Nashville, Tennessee.
in
thank you.
Nashville. Okay. Getting the wrap up sign. I'm sorry. Maybe we can once again. I can suggest that we
Thanks,
revisit
Yolanda.
this.
Thanks, Yolanda. We
But
appreciate it.
time is a tyrant and not necessarily our friend. But thank you all for playing along in my little game, and I hope that you will encourage one of us to do that book. Let's move to trending topics. And Myra J, where are you going? What you doing?
Do, 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 do.
You got to do.
Do, 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 do. On October 4th, Wednesday, here in Marietta, Georgia, new Black-owned facility called Perfect Note. I will be opening for J. Anthony Brown Wednesday, October 4th, right here in Marietta, Georgia. Get your tickets.
Is that his new spot?
No, no,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no, no.
okay. I thought that was his new spot. Okay. And speaking of Georgia, don't forget our friend Griff, comedian Griff,
Oh,
from
yeah.
the Erica Campbell show, also has a
A
comedy
new spot
room as
out
well.
in Douglasville, I think it
Yep,
is. Yeah,
yep,
yep, yep, yep, yep,
absolutely.
yep,
So October 4th, it'll be here before you know it.
yep, yep. So get your tickets
All right.
now.
And where is the Songbird performing, Stephen Hill?
Shantae's doing some black music. Oh, gee, uh, Rights Collective. BMAC is having a benefit, big gala in Los Angeles tomorrow. She will be doing a tribute to Clarence Avant with Luke
Oh,
James and Tank
oh,
and Shantae. So that'll be a lot of fun
Mhm.
on Saturday in DC at the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Gala, performing there with her band, and then in New Orleans on the 6th. And I think it's a specific event, but lots of travel in the next couple of weeks.
and tell Tank I said, hey, no
Hi.
disrespect to his wife.
Right.
And,
Move
and
James
young,
too, please.
I know. I met him at Stephen Hill's wedding, at the reception. He is so dear. He is just such a lovely man. I really enjoyed having the opportunity to meet and talk to him. Sorry. I'm sorry, Quinn.
No,
Um,
I'm living
and,
through this.
and,
I feel as if I met him. So this is great. I just want to know what he smell like. I just got to know.
and Quinn, where are you going to be?
I'm gonna be teaching. I
Okay,
am.
I'm gonna
All
be in the
right,
classroom. All right,
all right. That's
that's
for
right.
education.
That's right. That's right.
Just
She
gonna get
snaps
this
up.
PhD. Call it a day.
And Stephen Hill, are you making a guest appearance on the Netflix show Top Boy? Is that why you are?
No, I love the story of Top Boy. I love the show Top Boy. I'm sad that it's coming to an end. It's come to a final end after five seasons. There were two
Wow,
four
I didn't
episode
realize it's
seasons.
been that long.
So in 2011, they started with a 4 episode season. They thought it was just going to be a miniseries of 4 episodes, but it blew up in the UK. So there's another 4 done a year later, and then it was ended. And Drake was like, "I love this series. Can we bring it back?" So literally 6 years later, the Netflix series is actually seasons 3, 4, and 5, and so they just released season 5 this past week. And it is, if you like, I hate to say it, but if you like The Wire and you want to understand the UK execution of that kind of environment and atmosphere, Top Boy is fantastic to watch. It's just
I didn't really, but I'm not a Wire type of person, so I didn't really get it. But as going back to it, I really enjoy it. I really do. Yeah.
And I want to talk like that. Like I want to like their accents and their slang is like isn't it great? It's great, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it means it is the end for everything. And if you do watch it, you should watch it. Watch it with the subtitles on. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
You have to have the subtitles on for an English.
Can I just mourn the loss of a really sweet show called The Wonder Years that was recently canceled by ABC? I absolutely adored this show. And I was so glad when they brought it back this summer, but I didn't have high hopes because of the way they kind of slipped it under the radar and didn't really promote it. And then it was difficult to promote because the talk shows weren't live and there are a whole bunch of things. But this was the black version of the original, a reboot, if you will, of the original Wonder Years. And this was about a black family in 1960s Alabama. It was so beautifully done.
It definitely was. The writing, the acting was a very good show.
Oh my God. I wish that someone would pick it up. If you can talk to the folks at Netflix tomorrow when you're at that special Stephen Hill, ask them. I got a couple of dollars. I don't have much. I got a couple of credit cards maybe. But to bring that show back, and it just seems like
is over.
right.
As soon as your little strike stops.
Right. And I will tell you that I really think I'm a jinx on some of these shows that I really love because All Rise, which I absolutely loved, on CBS, picked up by Oprah. It didn't last a season before they announced that it was over. And now with the Wonder Years, it was so good. And it made my heart sing. It's one of those shows that just made my heart sing. And I'm very sorry to see it go.
This is the second. This is the second time I've mourned the loss of Wonder Years because I was Kevin Arnold. Was Kevin Arnold?
I think it was the Arnold family.
And Winnie, was Winnie the girlfriend?
Yep.
Her real name. Her real name is
the character's name was Winnie. Yeah.
Winnie. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't get into the first so much, but man, this one, it really did it for me. And such, the kid that played Dean was the Kevin character. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and our friend Alicia, the comedian, is working to be a director, and that was one of the shows where she was working as an intern or a director's assistant on that. So just really so sorry. Speaking of sorry, and Myra brought this to me yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday, but the loss of the acting president of Temple University, a brilliant woman by the name of Joanne Epps. She died Tuesday after collapsing on stage in the middle of a special event. She was at a memorial service on the Philadelphia campus, and she became Temple's leader earlier this year after the resignation of the previous president, Jason Wingard. And she was scheduled to speak at the event, which was in memory of the historian and author Charles Blockson. And Blockson was the curator emeritus of the Blockson African American Collection. Just an amazing collector and genius on the art level of genius. And just shortly after the event began, she slumped in her chair and was carried out. And they asked if there was a doctor in the house. She was described as a devoted servant and friend who represented the best parts of Temple University. She spent nearly 40 years on that campus, serving her life, 40 years of her life serving as a university, as she was the former Temple Law School dean and provost, spent, and I said, almost 40 years before she was asked to step in. And she was on her way to retirement when she was asked to step in as the acting president in April. So it's just been a very short period of time that she had been in that office. And they were, it was described as the campus was reeling from the resignation of the previous president. There was also a graduate student worker strike on campus, as well as the murder of one of the campus policemen. And all of this was swirling around her. And she was the woman that kept the university going and kept it calm. And so many people have written, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, who went to Temple Law School or who went to Temple University and talked about how if it were not for that, were not for this woman, they don't know where they would be, and how she saw them. She saw them, she encouraged them, and they would not be the lawyers or the accomplished professionals that they are today. And they said that she didn't. That she was, they said she was a very small woman, but big in all of her liveliness and concern for people, giant to many. She said they said she was our guiding light, our North Star. She was caring. She loved Temple. She loved the law school. She just gave it her all. She was lauded as someone who utilized her station in life to affect the lives of so many people. And I don't think you can ask for more than that.
Yep.
I don't. Also, today, I don't know if you all wasted your time, but the Judiciary Committee Republicans went in on the attack on the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, today about the Justice Department investigation into Hunter Biden, charging that Garland and the special counsel investigating the case, a man by the name of David Weiss, were doing the bidding of the Bidens by offering Hunter Biden a plea deal. They didn't want to address the fact that, the Justice Department was also doing its due diligence, and the why they were going in on him was the 91 counts against the former president and the special counsel. They didn't talk about that too much. He did not engage in the GOP attacks against Jack Smith, the investigations into Donald Trump, and but it was I don't want to say it was compelling. I don't want to say it was must see TV, but uh, I really like the way the Democrats were trying to keep things on task, and the Republicans were showboating and all of that, and Mr. Attorney General was trying to keep his cool as well, because there was some real silliness, and people were
It was
politicking and gesturing for their folks back
it
home.
was a performance piece. Let's just say
Yeah,
it was a
right.
very, very, very bad play. Most times they wouldn't even let him speak because they would go on and on and on.
They just want to. I don't want to hear what you have to
Right,
say.
right,
Just
right.
let me talk.
I already know the answer, sir. And da da da
Cole,
da da da.
Cole
And
out
da
of,
da da da.
yeah, the Cole, I think it was Cole, the Republican out of Texas, was it was just so much showboating and so much
Yeah.
yes or no, yes or no. Like
Mhm.
no more nuance.
It's not a yes or no
It's
answer.
not. Now I will say this. I will say this. If they had gotten together, there's some meat on the bone in the why didn't you change out special counsels, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a little meat on it. Like you can there's logical questions into like, okay, if the whistleblowers came out after you would assign this special counsel, why did you keep with the same special counsel?
Right.
But they were too interested in showboating and getting the blurb.
They didn't care. They didn't care.
They could have picked that. They just didn't do it as well as they could.
They
I thought.
and nobody was there, especially the guy who needs a suit jacket on, Jim Jordan of Ohio. Uh, they nobody was there to direct them. Say, okay, it's sort of like the performance of the January 6th committee, right? Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to have the video, and then we're going to do this and this. But there was no direction and no cohesion in that. They were just out there to say, here's what I got to say, and this is why you're wrong, and I don't want to hear what you have to say. No. It's pretty much that.
Yeah.
Because all they care about is getting elected. They don't care about the results. They care about
Right.
getting reelected.
Right.
That's it.
Yep. You guys will be glad to know the Wiener is back.
You really need to be more specific when
Okay.
you're talking to
Um,
me.
Some of us have more interest in that than others.
With
I
or
was talking
without
about
the bun?
the Wienermobile.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if you knew this, that they changed the name. They tried to change it to the Frankfurter Mobile over the summer,
Why?
and people are like, "Why would you do that?" They wanted to
Because
promote
of
the.
Andrew. I knew you'd appreciate that. I knew Sybil would appreciate that. I'm
I
out. I
got it.
gotta go.
I
Gotta
got
go
it.
now. Bye. All right,
I
gotta go.
Good
got
night, everyone.
I got it.
I didn't get
So
it.
they tried to rebrand it as the Frankmobile, and after they're all beef Frankfurter, but now people are like, no, it's the Wienermobile. When
Everybody
you
know
see it,
it's Frank and beans, it's weenie and buns. Okay.
if you're lucky, yes. So
Everybody
they,
wants to ride the wiener. It's crazy.
how crazy is it?
Yeah.
I asked and they would not let me. Okay. Um, so let us now. I know that you travel a lot. Next time I want to talk about.
There's a great trans jest there with what you just said. I tried to write it, but they wouldn't let me. There's a great trans jest there. I'm gonna let it go though.
I was referring to the people driving and
I know.
yeah, I know,
I
I
was
know, but
expanding on the
I
word
like that
they.
you. I know, and Kwynn, it was all
It's
inclusive.
inclusive. It was
Yeah,
inclusive.
yeah, absolutely.
Went really. I'm still stuck on who's Andrew. Why are we putting
Andrew,
pictures of
Andrew
who?
Andrew
Weiner
Weiner.
is a
Who's
former
Andrew Weiner?
congressman. He was married
Oh,
to the assistant to Hillary Clinton. He was a man who could not keep his wiener in his pants
Yeah.
and got his wife into a lot of trouble. And he had to leave Congress and leave their marriage. And and that was it, and he was out of New York. And why this man, insisted on keeping the name Wiener.
I was
And
literally googling Andrew Wienermobile.
And,
Andrew, like
and if I'm not mistaken, through his indiscretion with his wife who was working with Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
somewhat exposed all the emails and started
yes,
started the
yes.
whole Hillary Clinton emails thing. So it all connected.
oh, really?
Right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Andrew Weiner started the 32,000 email thing.
The
Oh,
missing,
Faux show.
yeah, yep,
Faux show.
absolutely. Let's talk entertainment. Oprah Winfrey is joining the conversation surrounding using the type 2 diabetes drug Ozempic for weight loss. And a lot of people, not a lot of people, some of the rags have accused her of using Ozempic for her recent weight loss. She said in this recent Oprah Daily, The Life You Want class, the state of weight, discussing obesity and the weight crisis. And she said that in her particular case, she had recent knee surgery and she needed to lose weight and actually thought about using Ozempic, which a lot of people in Hollywood have, and it's kind of filtered out around the country. But she revealed that she had some thoughts about taking Ozempic, which is the FDA approved prescription medication for people with type 2 diabetes, also known as Wegovy and Mounjaro, and works to make you feel full and not hungry, and the impact that that it's having on the Hollywood weight loss trend. She said, shouldn't we all just be more accepting of whatever body you choose to be in? That should be your choice. And even when I first started hearing about the weight loss drugs, at the same time I was going through knee surgery, and I felt I've got to do this on my own. And that's great. But she's not, she didn't address, or at least I didn't see this, that she's not addressing how much more difficult it is to lose weight the older you get. And that is real. All of the other things that come along with getting older, the ability to lose weight, you used to be able to just knock it off just like that. It's not so easy anymore. And I would love to hear her talk about that. Anybody?
I would love to stop cussing my scale out every day. I'm like, this is turned into a toxic relationship. You gave me them same numbers yesterday, and I'm not having it.
And I didn't spend an hour on the treadmill and doing all of this other stuff and eating celery all
I know
day.
I'm doing my job. You need to do your job, okay?
I both of my parents are diabetic, and so I'm diabetic, and so I didn't know
Oh.
that people have been using the like either Ribelsis or Ozempic to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
But for the first time, like in an actual conversation I was having with some coworkers, like somebody was talking about how they were using it, and I was like, "Wow, I take it too. Like, are you diabetic?" And she said, "No, God, no. Like, I just want to lose weight." And I was like, "Oh, me either." Kayla.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I felt so accepted, and then it was like shaved at the same time. So I'm
Oh
if
my
you're gonna take the
God.
medicine, y'all, if you're gonna take it, at least be accepting for folks, who
Right.
actually have the real
And
life.
especially people that can't find
Real
it
thing,
because
that's
so
right.
many people are
I started
using
taking
it.
it, and it's so expensive. It's so
Yeah.
expensive. It's really, really tragic.
Yeah.
So grateful
Yeah.
for health insurance, Lord.
I'm sorry that their selfishness is
Mhm.
depriving you of your medication.
It is what it is.
One thing that we've been talking about in the newsletter is PAD, or peripheral artery disease. And I just want to remind folks that we're going to be doing a special show about this September 21st. And we're going to have a person who suffers from peripheral artery disease. We're going to be having a doctor who treats people with PAD. And our friend J. Anthony Brown is also going to join us. And Lord knows, he probably by the time we end, he will think that he has PAD. I'm not sure. But I hope that you all will join us during our normal time. That is Thursday, September 21st. And
Tomorrow.
people living with
That's
PAD.
tomorrow. That's
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yep. It's tomorrow.
One correction I want to thank Michael Stallworth and CM and Regina. I said Andrew. It's Anthony Weiner. I said Andrew. That was on me. That was on me.
But I
On me.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Anthony is the correct name. I said Andrew.
Yeah. When I would do that on the Joyner Show incorrect, I would be called a bit killer. So I just kind of go along with it now.
Yeah, wait till but the bit was over. Once you go back,
Yeah.
It's a factual show, so we have to go
It
back and get that.
doesn't matter how long that they're like, okay.
I'm gonna
It
ask you,
shows-
did any of you guys watch the Kirk Franklin thing, or did you talk about it?
No, I did
But
not
I
watch
plan
it.
to
What'd you
watch
think?
it tonight. So
It's really good.
There's a
I'm
Kirk
watching
Franklin
it.
thing. What is
Yeah,
it?
it's called Father's Day. It's so good. He's
it's
like
on
talking
YouTube
about
Finding
or
his
something,
father,
right? Yeah.
who lived like a matter of minutes away from him.
Everybody is saying
literally down the street.
tear jerker. So
Yes, I'm watching it now.
On
So
what? On
we'll
what?
talk
On what?
about that next week, Quinn.
Is it
I
What
promise.
YouTube?
platform is it?
It's called
YouTube.
Kirk
YouTube?
Franklin Father's Day. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's close out with our jewel. Make peace with the universe for not always providing what you think you might want, need, or deserve. Let me read that again. Make peace with the universe for not always providing what you think you might need, want, or deserve. So inhale peace, exhale disappointment. No disappointment here with you all. I appreciate you joining us. Take care of yourselves. Go out there and be good to each other and have some fun. Go out and play. Aloha.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a new